Jacob in the backcourt with D'Angelo, and we'll start Alfonso, Draymond, and Marquise.
Preseason kind of has a quiet game. What have you thought?
Jacob, he's been good. He's been solid. Yeah, he's. You can see his. His year of experience last year has helped him. So he's a step ahead of the rookies in terms of his awareness and especially defensively. And he's far ahead of where he was a year ago at this time. So he's had some good moments, and we're excited for him this year and excited to give him the start tonight and more minutes on Friday. And I think he's earning himself a role on the team, but that's a never-ending battle. You got to do it. You got to do it every day.
Steph had that 40-point night last week, but what other examples jump out to you with how he's trying to help the team navigate through this new transition stage early on?
He's just being himself. Steph doesn't really change from one day to the next, whether he has 40 or 10. He's just same guy every day in his preparation, in his temperament. He loves the preparation. He loves the game itself. He loves the process, and I think that approach, that steady approach, has a calming effect on the whole group.
What's it like preparing for a game without him?
Without Steph?
Yeah.
Well, it's preseason, so it's not that big of a deal. Ask me in the regular season, it's a different deal. But this year will be very interesting in that regard. I think staying healthy and keeping our key guys healthy will be very important, and we're going to try our best. There's a lot of luck involved in that, but we'll do our best to monitor minutes and monitor workloads and try to keep guys going all year.
Is the approach from Rick's standpoint fairly similar with those guys, or in the context of it being a different type of season, any different with how he's looking at that?
No different, just same approach.
Steve, the amount of time this last year, both being injured and then you played in the playoffs.
The amount of time that, I'm sorry?
That LeBron missed. Do you almost feel or get a sense of what the NBA would be like, or is going to be like without him being out that long? Is that something that you notice or think about, and if you do, what were your thoughts on that?
I didn't think about it because he's a long way from being finished, and when you're in the playoffs, you don't think about anything like that. So I'm well aware of his importance to the league, and he's one of the few guys who comes along and changes the entire league and the trajectory of the league and the image and the ratings and everything else. So he's meant a great deal not only to the league but everybody who works in this league, to all of us here in this room right now. So we're all aware of that, and there will be a time one day to thank him for that. In the meantime, we're going to try to beat him.
Steve, with the caveat that it was preseason, you're worried about your team and you didn't have a lot of your bigs. Just wondered what you thought about the Lakers lineup from the start of the first game, the big lineup from the first preseason game.
Well, they're huge. They got a really, really big lineup. Between Davis and Dwight Howard, LeBron and JaVale, Kuzma when he's back. I mean, it's a really, really big team. And I think given that we've been without Loon and Willie Cauley-Stein, it's exposed our lack of size on the front line. We've gotten beaten up on the glass, and we've also gotten in foul trouble. So I imagine they will pose that threat to a lot of people just with the size and strength that they have on their roster.
These two teams have never really been great at the same time, or there really hasn't been much of a reason for a rivalry. What do you think of the possibility of a rivalry between the Warriors and the Lakers?
I don't think much about it, to be honest with you. I just think about our team, and I know it's something the fans would be very interested in, and we obviously each have some of the biggest stars in the league, and so our games will draw a spotlight. But we both have a lot of work to do before we get to that stage.
What kind of defensive challenge will this season be for Draymond? He used to be in the captain ship where everyone kind of knows what they're doing. This year, obviously, different.
Yeah, it's a very different challenge because we're going to have to play differently. We don't have the same wing depth that we've had, and so all the switching that Draymond has been so good with will be more difficult, and so he'll have to still captain the defense, but maybe from a different scheme, maybe with a little better, a little more patience for the younger guys who he's working with on the floor. So I imagine there'll be some frustration for everybody this year, just trying to bring these young guys in. That'll be a big part of it for Draymond.
Do you think there'll be more times this year he'll just, I'm going to go take the guy who's scoring a bunch? Because last year maybe Andre would, maybe Klay would. I think he will try to just go one-on-one.
It'll just all depend on matchups. We're going to need him to guard multiple guys. But if putting him on the best player on the perimeter takes him away from the rim and we're having trouble defending the rim, then that's counterproductive. So we'll have to figure that out from game to game.
Frank's talked a lot about how when Dwight and JaVale come on before, they don't have to necessarily change much defensively just because their skill set. As an opposing coach, when you look at those guys who do it relatively well, do they present different challenges? Are there things that you can do against one that you can't do against the other, vice versa?
Yeah, they're different. They're different players, but they both pose similar issues. Dwight's more power, and I think JaVale is more speed and finesse. JaVale's better off one leg, catching off the roll and bouncing off one leg and going up and dunking it. And Dwight's more of a two-leg jumper, a guy who's going to get a pocket pass and gather and pump fake and draw fouls. But they're both huge players who are really, really difficult to deal with around the basket.
What do you think has allowed JaVale? It's hard to kind of work your way back into a starting position as you get into your 30s. What do you think has played for him over the last season?
Well, he was great with us. We had him for 2 years, and he played a big role for us at times. And then, we had a lot of big men, so there were other times when he didn't play a whole lot. I know that was frustrating for him, but he helped us win 2 championships and was a very important player for us. So I was more surprised actually when we got him. I couldn't understand what had happened the previous 2 years and why he had sort of fallen off the map a little bit, because he's such a threat as a lob guy and a roller that almost every team in the league can use a guy like that. So it was curious to me to understand why he lost his momentum in his career, but I was really happy for him, and I continue to be happy for him because he's a great guy and a great teammate that he's kind of gotten back on track.
We've seen how skilled Marquise can be in terms of passing, in terms of pick and roll and whatnot, but the fact that the other night he was able to bang against guys like Howard and JaVale, what kind of dimension does that add to, especially for a guy like him?
Well, Marquise has really had a good camp, and he's not the prototypical center size-wise in the league. He's undersized, but that's not as big of an issue these days as it was 20 years ago. It's a problem against some teams, but the majority of teams it's not. So he's got a chance to play some 5. We got to try to get him to play without fouling so much. He's got in foul trouble, I think 2 of our 3 games, and I think he's shown some really good ability to set screen for our shooters, and set screens for our shooters, and also run dribble handoffs and make passes out of the pocket. And he's got a nice touch around the rim, so he's an exciting young player. We're happy to have him.
Thanks.
All right, thanks guys.